And I'm like, oh, all I need to do is create a Bible study and to get treated like this. I was like, man, I should have created this Bible study a long time ago.
We're gonna jump in. All right, man. Jamie, we got Jamie Geist on the line today. Hey, brother, thank you so much for jumping on and doing this podcast episode with me on the Kingsmen podcast. And the reason I had you on today too, Jamie, was because you've been with me in our brotherhood for the about a year, I want to say now.
Mhm.
And you made some like pretty amazing shifts just recently in this last, I would like 6 or 7 months or so. So I wanted to get you on here to kind of share your story about where you came from, who are you, and this thing called discipleship that you've really taken seriously in the last couple of months. And it's been a huge journey. So I just want to use this opportunity to share that. So Jamie, just share a little bit about who you are and who are you? Who is Jamie Geist?
Uh, yeah, Jamie Geist of this day and age is I'm a married man. I have two stepkids, 22 and 25. They are both almost out of the house. They're on their ways. They're almost done with college. And let's see, been married 12 years. My wife's name is Ida, and we are both working people. I have my own business. I fix dents on cars, and my wife runs a small business. She's not the owner, but she manages a small business. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We go to church on Sundays, and I'm training a young man to do the business that I'm doing right now. And just opened a shop about, let's see, a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Startup.
business is going, yeah, startup business. I'm doing the same thing I've been doing, but just now with a brick and mortar with a retail location.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
so, yeah,
so Jamie's a lot of like the people we work with, either starting a business, been in business, or not even in business, but they're in some capacity that they're leading other people, either a family, team members, or people in the actual industry that they're in. And so, Jamie, you're a lot like a lot of the people who could be listening right now, who probably grew up in the church, like you said, went to church, been doing that for years as well. But there's a shift that happened to you pretty recently. And I want to kind of, before we jump into that shift, I wanted you to paint a picture of who Jamie Geist was before, Kingsman, before Forge, before the Brotherhood that you've, participated in and have had a part of your life for this past year. What was your day like? What was your week life? Where was your faith at, your marriage, just your life in general? Paint this picture for the audience of who Jamie Geist was about a year ago.
let's see, about a year ago and years before, right? I felt like my life was pretty good. I consider myself a business owner. I worked hard. I've had people work for me. I thought, my marriage was I thought was really good. Probably maybe mediocre now where I look at my life where I'm at now. I'm kind of just surface level. Same thing with my business. I just went to work, worked hard. Everything to me felt amazing in that time. But kind of where I'm at now, I realized I kind of was just
Oop.
comfortable.
So it felt
Very,
really comfortable. So what I'm hearing is that life was good.
uh-huh,
As a
for
lot of
sure.
the people that, we first interact with. I mean, life is good. Your life is working for you. You have amazing kids. If some of them are getting married this upcoming year, they've,
Yep, yep, yep.
went to college. I mean, you did a great job just taking care of your family, growing a business, providing means and opportunities. I mean, you were going on dates, like nice dates every single weekend for the most part. Ever since I've known you, you've been to one specific nice restaurant in Mansfield called Mihan's almost every single weekend and and doing this thing called marriage.
Yep,
But it sounds like what you were saying, you were very comfortable.
yep.
And looking back at where you are now versus back then, there was something maybe just missing in your life. Can you paint a picture of like what was it that this person who's pretty much seems like it has all his shit together for the most part, but something was missing? What was that what were you experiencing, or that pain, or that gnawing that you were having?
I felt, and what's interesting is I don't think I was aware of that gnawing, right? I felt comfortable. I felt like my marriage was amazing. I felt like I was doing things the way that a man should do things. That's the way that I felt. I felt I'm dating her, I'm paying the bills, I'm providing, but I didn't realize. I know it's hard to explain. I didn't realize that how complacent I was until where I'm at now. I didn't have I didn't have anybody to teach me these things. I didn't have anybody holding me high. I didn't have a purpose.
Have
I didn't have
accountability. So I was
accountability.
trying to
So
just
I was kind of just leading my wife the way that I thought other men did things. I just dated her, paid the bills, you know, was there for her when she needed me. And but that was it. I really had, even after years, I didn't feel like I had really accountability and feedback on how good of a husband I was being. I just I thought I was being a good husband, but I really didn't realize I was missing that feedback.
Mm. So, Jamie, it's not like you're like a lonely person. If you've met Jamie, you even know Jamie, Jamie makes friends everywhere. I mean, he does not know a stranger. I mean, you really,
Mhm.
and you went through a training too through the church. We would go to TCAL together. You went to TCAL before, but they used to have this a men's training that I went through as well with my oldest son, MOI, and there's Brotherhood in there too. And I mean, they do a great job. They really set some biblical foundations for manhood, and so it wasn't like you were completely alone and you never had anybody. But it sounds like you didn't have the community, like you said, that was holding you high. So what was that difference for you where there was a community, you had men in your life, but you met something or you experienced something that shifted your perspective, shifted the way you saw things? What was that shift for you? What did you have now that you felt like you didn't have or you didn't just get to experience at that depth back then?
Yeah, I think the training at the church did an amazing job of teaching us to be biblical men, right? But they taught us, but there wasn't accountability. And so when I met you, right, and went to a training, the main thing that just keeps ringing in my ear is purpose, purpose, purpose. What's your purpose? What's your target? Through all those years, even though having my own business, being what I thought a good husband, still pretty good husband on, I don't think I was horrible. And but I just still never realized I didn't have a purpose. I still didn't know what my purpose was, what my calling was. And I just felt like my purpose was to make a lot of money and to retire, right? And to retire and hang out with my wife for the rest of my life. But I didn't know what was beyond that. So I didn't know. I wasn't leading myself. I was just doing what the rest of the world was doing. That's the way that now that I see it. I didn't feel that in the moment, but that's the way that I feel now after going to the training. I realized I have so much more purpose than just working hard and retiring.
Yeah. So society, the world, it's not to their default, but what I'm hearing is they set the bar pretty low for you.
Yes, yes.
They set the bar pretty low for you. It's like, hey, just work hard, take care of your family, you know, be a biblical man. It could look like this, go to church and lead your family. Oh, great, all great stuff. And we're not dismissing any of that, but you just realize, like, whoa, I have so much more to give as a man. I have a greater purpose, but I didn't know how to tap into that, is what I think I'm hearing you say. And you didn't have a community that really spoke into this new standard, elevated standard, you can say, where you were like, I didn't even know I was even capable of these things. And I didn't have a community that says I was able to lead and do the things that I'm doing now, which we'll get into. And that's what I'm hearing for you, that, it's not the fault of society and things like that, but you felt like the lid for you was very small. It was very,
Mhm,
ceiling was very short. And you felt like, man, I'm already here. It's like, I guess we just start retiring at this point. And when I met you initially too, it was like, hey, let's work on our business because you want to have retirement. And that's a
mhm,
great start for a lot of people because that's what, the world tells you, right? But when you said, whoa, my life is not just for retirement. My life is not just, hey, what can I get to relax and be more comfortable? My life has a bigger purpose than that. So take us into that moment where you finally realize, like, okay, my life is good. What was that moment that shifted you? What were you experiencing at the time where you're like, oh my gosh, like I have been living not to my fault, but I've been living so small. I've been seeing myself so small. Was there a situation, circumstance, event, possibly a conversation where that just was so crystal clear to you that you had a choice at that point, stay there or move forward?
yeah. So I'll try to go back a little bit. Went to the training with you guys, and So at first I went there for my business. I went there for my business. I said, okay, I'm gonna, and then when I started hearing the word purpose, okay, then I was still thinking automatically, what's my purpose for my business? I didn't realize that I had so much more to live for with, faith, fitness, family. And so, even going through the training, it still didn't hit me until I spoke to you about this. Out of nowhere, I run into you at the gym, and the gym that you don't normally work out at. And you know, I just was telling you I was kind of complacent in faith, my faith target. And so you asked me, what would you like to do? And I said, create a men's Bible study. And this is something I've never thought I would say. This is something I've done a lot of biblical training, never been to a Bible study. And even then, I was just saying, okay, this is something else to do. Check the box, right? And once did create that and I saw how good it went and just how good it made me feel, how good it made others feel, that moment is literally what triggered something that just gave me peace and fulfillment in my heart. It gave me a new peace where I wasn't focused on just my business. And even though we learned those things, so many things in the training, right? You need to focus on all the targets. I call them the 4 F's: faith, family, fitness, and finance. I still, even after leaving the training, I was still focused specifically on finances, on businesses. I'm not going to lie, that's what I was focused on. But once I started searching for new targets, creating new targets in other domains, that's when it shifted. That's when it shifted. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I could do this. I could do this in my workout, my fitness routine. I think that was the moment creating the Bible study that shifted everything for me.
Yeah. So you were doing great. Your business was starting out, your startup. And so, like any startups, there's ups and downs. You got to reinvest. You're learning so
Mhm.
many things that you haven't learned before. Share kind of where you're at in terms of like how long has it been that you've been like Christian, a follower of Jesus, and went to church, you've done a men's discipleship, MOI, you've attended that, you've even supported that at the table as well. I mean,
Mhm.
you've invested a lot in yourself, even in your faith already. But one thing I'm hearing from you is that you've never like led other men. You never discipled another. So what was that shift? What was that point for you where you're like, okay, how long have you been a Christian and what finally made you say yes to that versus all the things that you were telling yourself like you didn't, you couldn't, whatever it was? What was kind of running through your mind?
I just felt like, so I was grew up going to church as a child, went to youth group, went to mission trips as a child. My parents had us super involved in the church. Might have had some years where wasn't attending church much in my middle ages, 20s and 30s, 20s, maybe mainly 20s, early 30s. Met my wife, started going to church again, youth leaders, right? We served a lot. We served, we attended, we received. That's the way that I feel like it. We received. And even with the men's training at church, I did feel like I was leading because they assigned me as a leader, but not that it was wrong, but I had to lead with their curriculum there, with their curriculum. And it was still great, but I didn't get to lead the way that I wanted to. So for me, the shift was creating the Bible study and leading it the way that I wanted to and what I thought others would like that would make others want to come. That was the moment that I finally, for the literally first time in my life, even being a business owner, felt like a true leader. And it's working good. So the to me the progress shows that obviously it I mean, I like I have a little bit of ego. I like to know that I'm doing good at things, and but it feels good that I continue to see men show up to the Bible study, and for it to grow, and for them to want to come. I just realized that I could be a leader. For years. I don't think that I always felt like I had something deep in my heart that I had a I felt like a craving that I was going to lead. And so when I did youth group, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of checked the box. Okay, done. Been a great leader, but I've realized we never arrive. That's you guys saying we never arrive. And so every time I would accomplish something in the past, I would just be cool and done with it. And now throughout this journey, I realize I can just keep creating more. I can keep leading more. And that's been the fun, exciting part that makes me feel like Jesus made me special and I have this skill and I was just holding it in so many years and it feels so good to release it.
Mm. So how old are you, Jamie? If you don't mind sharing.
48 years young.
48 years, almost 50 years, right? We're
Yep.
not
Yep.
up yet, 48 still, but pretty close
Yep.
to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I'm hearing from you is, hey, you did things like the men's discipleship, you did youth leadership, and those are great. Those are great place, especially building a foundation. But what I'm hearing is you were still going almost as consuming because you were just like, hey, the curriculum is there. I just show up, just do the work, kind of go home, but do the checkbox things. But
Hmm.
what's giving you the life right now is that, like you said, God created uniquely you to lead people uniquely like you, wherever you're at with your experience, your testimony, the challenge that you went through, and being able to kind of step into that as well and show up as you are, very imperfect, but still committed to just discipling others. That's been the biggest shift for you because you're just showing up as yourself, filling up your own cup because this is what you're needing versus, like what you're just there just to teach them and things like that. You're really showing up for yourself, but you're
Yes.
pouring onto everyone.
Yes, 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 and it's okay to get messy. It's okay to learn as I go. I think so many men, speaking out loud, at least for the way that I felt myself, is I was scared to take all these risks
Mhm.
because I wasn't going to be perfect. I wasn't going to do it right. People were going to judge me, and I think that's the reason a lot of men and myself just don't make those jumps or those leaps or take those risks with whatever it is. It could be the smallest things. A Bible study, that seemed like the biggest deal in the world to me. It's not that complicated. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, and we get so much out of it. Anybody can start a Bible study. I encourage anybody to start a Bible study. If you don't have community, start one yourself. You don't have to. I didn't learn how to do it. I just did it.
So, like you were saying, anybody can start a Bible study, and most people don't start it, like you said, because they don't feel qualified.
Hmm.
They don't know enough about the Bible. They don't
Yeah.
have enough experience. They're not perfected enough, right? It's kind of like one
Yep.
of those where, like, hey, I'll start doing a marathon or do martial arts when I get to this situation. Then I'll be able
Yeah.
to do it. Versus letting that process build you into the person, not waiting for perfection before starting, but starting and just being in progress of that.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
Great. So for you, you didn't feel like, hey, you were like 48, you've been a Christian pretty much your whole life, and you never thought to start your own Bible study to actually disciple other people because you didn't feel, would you say, like qualified,
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I felt like I needed to go to 5 years of school to learn how to create a Bible study.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what shifted? What was it that served you to get over this hump of committing to this date and going for it? What worked for you specifically so that the people, the audience can hear what could be getting away from them and what can serve them?
What worked for me was just picking something, choosing it, and going for it. And also having, feedback and accountabilities from others. You helped. Not that you had to do a ton, but you just also always ask, when you're going to start this? How many people are going to be there? Those few things made me feel like I could do it. I never felt like I could do it before. And I've never had any other men say, for example, I might have suggested that to other men before, that I'd like to do a Bible study. And they would have just said, oh, that's a great idea. And then just left it at that.
Mm.
And so to have somebody like specifically you just ask me a few questions, I think a lot of it is questions. That's what I've learned too, is just asking questions. So we're not perfect, but you asking those questions helped me realize, oh, okay, he sees that I can do it. Maybe I can do it. And so that the questions, the accountability, when are you going to do it? How many people and when you're going to start it? Obviously it put a little pressure on me, but it didn't take that much pressure because I realized if he had faith in me and thought that it was a good idea, just having that one more person to suggest, hey, that's a great idea. I think you should do that, made it so much easier for me to commit.
Yeah. So the whole definition of what I'm hearing you say is that brotherhood that really held you high, made
Hmm.
a shift for you. Because if I was just like any other person who's, in our normal community or friends group, it's like, oh, that's a great idea, blah, blah. They might have started just giving you ideas. They might have just told you, like, well, yeah, let me know how that goes. Good luck, versus holding you high. And I think that's one of the hardest things for men to hold each other high to the level, not even the level that God holds us, because God knows that we are already like he already sees our very best because of the
Hmm.
sacrifice that Jesus did on the cross for us. But it's so hard for us to see that in each other.
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah. And most men, real quick, because I
yeah,
got to say this, most men, right, or not most, but what I've experienced a lot, whether it's with a new business idea, the Bible study, most men, because it's the way that they think, and a lot of us think, is that, well, how are you going to have time to do that? You already have a really big schedule. You sure you're going to be able to do that? You're going to be able to fit that. You might not have as much time to work. You might not make as much money. So it's kind of the opposite. They push doubt into your
Mhm.
head, just making you shut down immediately and decide not to commit to whatever it is, whether it's work or anything. And I had that happen a lot with my business, where a lot of people are, how are you going to pay for that shop? How are you going to pay for that? And how are you going to train somebody? And the new me just said, hey, thanks for your feedback, but I'm not listening to that feedback.
Yeah, it just doesn't serve you. And so all feedback is great, and a lot of the people, a lot of these men and people who communicate these things, there's nothing wrong with that, right? They're looking
Hmm.
for gaps for us of what's missing for it to happen, and a lot of times because they aren't living out what you call a vision, a mission, or whatever it is, all they
Hmm.
see is barriers. Versus
Hmm.
we're focusing on, hey, what is the target? And barriers are it's naturally going to come up naturally
Hmm.
though. And when we are communicating with the right community, the right brotherhood, the right men, it doesn't become this overwhelming challenge. It just becomes, hey, it's just a challenge, but that's just one out of 100 infinite amount of challenges that we're going to face. But we make commitments versus fantasy. And you're right.
Yes.
When we say what we want, like starting a Bible study, leading other men, discipling others, naturally all of these obstacles will come up for other people because perception is projection. People will project what the obstacles they feel in themselves, what will get in their own way, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily ours to own, like you said. It's like, hey, thanks for sharing your current fears, doubts, and projections, but they're not no longer mine, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. And so for you, you're around this community. Now you have another community. You still have the old one, but this new community that you are a part of, that you're even not just a part of, now you're expanding it. You have been leading at this a Bible study for several months now, right? What has changed for you since starting this Bible study? Because it didn't come out perfectly. It was not something that was, you knew exactly how to do. You adjusted and course corrected over time. What have you learned since making this commitment to disciple others and actually hold a Bible study, a men's group?
What have I learned?
Just going through the process. Yeah.
I've just learned that it doesn't have to stay the same. I can always change as it goes along. And and at first, I think I just would have created something like that and just left it the same. Sometimes it's okay to leave it the same. I think recently I spoke to you about wanting to maybe make it, maybe even overcomplicate it. For me, I just thought we need to do more, and sometimes more is not even better. Sometimes less is not better. But for me, what I learned is that we can just constantly pivot, adapt, and change things and see what works. See what works. It's okay to get messy. That's you guys talk a lot
Pretend it's
about that,
not.
getting messy and cleaning it up. And sometimes I've realized and it's not even getting messy. It's just not being scared to change things, not being afraid to do new things. So with the Bible study, I feel like each thing that I tweak, and with feedback also from you, which is great, it just continues to get better and better and better and grow.
Yeah. And what has changed? Yes, we'll pivot because we never arrive. And most people want this perfect curriculum and, this perfect structure so they can't make mistakes and get messy. What I'm
Mhm.
hearing from you is you're okay with getting messy. You're like, hey, I'm going to get messy. I'll clean it up and I'll go again. And I'll clean up and then go again. Because, like you said, we just never really arrive. And that's the beauty of it. And it gives us so much grace, is what I'm hearing for you, to take more risk in Bible study.
Mhm.
Try different things. Make it work for your life, but while at the same time is serving other men. All right. Since starting this Bible study, what has shifted for you in your marriage? What have you seen? And now that you're 48 years old, you've been married for how many years now?
12 years.
About
12
12,
years going on 13 and a couple months
13 for a
soon.
couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah.
How has choosing to make this commitment to disciple others and have a Bible study, how has that shifted and kind of poured into maybe your marriage? How has it poured into your business? What have you noticed that shifted for you?
For me, it's been a huge shift, and I see it. now I'm aware that my wife sees it. And I've done this Bible study 3 months now, literally, maybe 3 months. And I think my wife always considered me a godly man, knew I was a godly man. I knew she was a godly woman, but I'm starting to get feedback from her now. She's kind of blowing up my head a little bit, bragging about me a little bit, and where things that maybe not that she didn't think those things before, but didn't express those things. And I just notice her feeling safer with me. I notice I feel more comfortable, even all the years of me praying in front of men, praying out loud. One thing I struggle with, and I know that we're called to pray with our wives, I really struggle with praying with my wife for some reason. I have no idea why. And even just creating that Bible study, knowing that, and even that, I know that comes from the enemy. That's just the enemy saying, you're not going to say, all the things I've been taught, you're not going to pray perfect with her. Even that, I know I prayed with her last night over something her mom's going through some tough times. And that's why it came to my head. I just noticed that I feel so much stronger of a biblical leader for her, my kids, because I'm in the word. And that shift is just, it's making me feel more confident about who I am as Jesus' kid. I don't have to be perfect. And just as far as the marriage, I see my wife literally, I hate saying submitted because she doesn't want to submit, but I see her submitting to me and just treating me with so much more respect and just kind of bragging about me. And I was just like, who is this, And I'm like, oh, all I need to do is create a Bible study and to get treated like this. I was like, man, I should have created this Bible study a long time ago. But I feel like our marriage is nothing can't be fixed now because of that faith I have from creating the Bible study. Even after going to church through all those years, I just feel like a stronger Christian. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, that's all right because I think you're just in it's a different season. And what I'm
Hmm.
hearing you say is you're at first time in your life right now, you feel like you're actually leading in a marriage,
Hmm. For sure,
doing
100%.
all the right things that we're just told to do in a marriage.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit, elaborate a little bit about what that looks like even before. So what you said you feel more respected now. You feel like she's honoring you, like she wants to honor you. And that was new for you. What was it like before that you were like, okay, I maybe I didn't feel as respected, but now you're like, this is a whole nother level of respect that I've just never experienced. And the respect that I'm hearing is even just for yourself in general. Tell us a little bit, draw a picture because a lot of us right here, like I've been married 20, about almost 19, 20 years from now up until now. And this is different when you're choosing to live a faith based leadership. You're choosing to live out your faith in leadership and make it a active part of your life and making a commitment. Just a different type of leadership versus, hey, I'm taking care of you as my husband, financially, resource wise, emotionally, and things like that, versus stepping into this unknown of like discipleship.
Yeah, for me, I just felt like the old me, it was all about doing everything, even with the worldly ways, right? But especially even the biblical ways. It was just about doing, even in some of the other trainings, it's like, make sure you make the bed for your wife, make sure you do the dishes, all these things. Not that those aren't great things, but I wasn't leading my wife by, I could do the dishes and do all the womanly things. And that's even, I think that's still, even though I learned these things maybe in some biblical trainings, that to me, that's still the worldly ways of do, and then you get this. And so the shift is, I think my wife always, like I said, consider me a godly man, but it's just, I think we were both just going through the motions. We were going through the motions from what we learned and what we knew best through the church. And so by me creating this Bible study and becoming a true leader, I'm starting to see, like I said, my wife come under me, and also my wife becoming wanting and starting to become a leader, better leader herself as well, and want to serve others. And I think what was just missing was just, I don't know what was missing. I think it was just knowing that, like I said, I'm right in God's eyes. And but I never felt like I could do enough the old way. It was just like, I needed to do youth group. I needed to greet at the door. I kept doing these things, but I never felt still like I was good enough. And, so even just creating the Bible study, I don't have to do a million things at church. Learning to lead by what's in the word instead of what I think's right. That's what kind of helped me, I think, lead my wife better, the kid that I'm training, other people, just by doing life by what's in the word, not what the world thinks.
Yeah. So this is what I'm here. I'm just encapsulating. There's this concept we always teach and we learn from Sebastian to call work death salvation versus
Yeah.
grace salvation. And it's like work death is like, hey, do this, make the bed, do the dishes, you know, go on dates with your wife. Then you'll have trust. Then you'll have intimacy. Then you'll be a good husband. Then you'll be saved. Then you'll be right and like a biblical man, right? And it's like there's not enough. You got to keep doing more, and keep earning this title of being a good husband, being a
Trying to win her over. I
trying to
felt like I
win
was
her
trying to
over.
win her over. Yeah.
Yeah, so and this is not a fault. This is just how we're taught in the world is we just need to keep doing all of these things to earn affection,
Mhm.
earn our wives' respect, earn this. And it's just like, man, it's like I'm constantly on this hamster wheel. And it never
Mhm.
feels like you said, I did youth, I did this, I went to church, I went this. And it was not because you're a bad person or it was anything like that. It was just even coming from a framework where you are never going to be successful at it because you have to keep earning it again every day that you wake up. So it's almost like, man, why would I want to do more? Like, can I just do this thing and stay consistent and like I'm good? Like, it sounds exhausting, but it almost sounds like you're doing less now, but you're getting better results because you're coming from a place of, I don't need to earn her love. I don't need to
Mhm.
earn her respect. I don't need to earn in order to be a great man, a great husband, a great biblical man. I'm already a great husband. I'm already a great biblical man. I'm already saved. So what would a saved person do? He would give away to other people. He would disciple
Mhm.
others. He would show up for other people, not to earn anything. It's because you're good already.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like she sees me. There's a difference between a servant and a leader. Before I was just a servant. That's what I
Mhm.
felt like serving, right? Not serving is right. We're called to serve. That's okay, but not just only please, 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 please do, serve, serve, serve. And so by me even just leading others, I got a little story that I jotted down that I wanted to share. It's just
Sure.
one of the suggestions was, when did you notice a shift that your wife or that your wife noticed that you might not even notice? We were having dinner with my soon to be son-in-law's parents. Let's see, a few months ago, and my wife told his parents, which we've known them forever. She said Jamie is a godly man. She's like, this is after I created the Bible study. She's like, he leads these men. And I was just like, whoa, where did this come from? And so even her saying that, that was even a shift for me before she was almost more aware of it than I was. And I just hadn't heard that from her. And I was just like, holy cow. I was like, I, I can do this. I am doing this. And for her to say that, just, it made me feel like I'm doing the right things. Where I did all these other things in the past, never heard that. Never heard her boast or brag about me like that.
Yeah. And it's not even like you said, you feel like you are doing the right things. It's not even like you're just doing the way, what church told you to do. No, this was just something that was on your heart that you wanted to do.
Mhm.
You wanted to do this, not because you had to, not because, the Bible's like, you need to have a Bible study. No, it was not. You're just on your heart. You're like, man, from what I remember, you're like, I just wanted to have this because I feel like I've gotten so much and I don't know where to put all this. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I've just am so in gratitude that I want to share this with other men because I know where they came from. I've been there too. It was just this natural overflow of you filling up your own cup, you
Yeah.
investing in yourself, you getting in a good relationship with God. I mean, how can you not share it?
Yeah. Yeah. I need it. I shared it with all the men in the Bible study. I need it just as much as you. We all need the same, but I created this for me and to lead others,
Yeah.
but to lead myself first.
Right? And versus you have to. Like you have
Yeah.
to do this. You have to go to Bible. You have to, serve at church as a youth leader. None of those things we're not saying anything or wrong things or anything. That's not what we're saying. We're saying it naturally came from your heart, this thing we call a vision or a target. That's authentically you, not, filtered, not suggested. It just came from a heart that was naturally overflown by someone who's just in community and getting an overflow from other brothers, right? And that shifted for you. And so, yeah, when your wife gave you that feedback, you were like, what is going on here? Because you weren't even expecting. That's not what you were looking for.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Just It's a cherry on top. And I don't, the thing is now I don't need it. The old me needed that to make myself feel better, needed that to know that I was being a
Validate.
good leader. Yeah. Needed that to know I was being a good husband. I don't need that anymore. That's just, it's great. But then knows I got a lot more work to do and I need to continue doing the work of what the Lord wants me to do, not what I want to do.
That's called, as a part of Kingsmen's, we always say, first we bow to the king and then
Mhm.
rise as a king. Right? That first part is we just need to be obedient and bow. Bow to not like as a domineering, you have to do this. No, bow to his ways because his ways are just better because he wants the best for us. John 10:10, live life and live life to the fullest. Bow to his way. We get the best. Then we naturally we rise as kings because our cups are overflowing. Now we want to serve. Now we want to give to others. Now we want to live in an abundance versus like, oh man, there's not enough. I'm not enough. I can't do enough. And you're having a relationships based off of transaction.
Yes. Yes. Transaction. Perfect. Perfect explanation. Transaction. Yep.
Transaction. So now you're not looking for you. And I mean, when you shared that story with me, I was like, well, that filled up my cup. I was so elated for you, so happy for you, because now you're not in this bondage of you need validation from your wife or anyone else. Now anything you do is just a natural because you want to. It's out of a place of gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah. So what else? What else shifted for you now that you have been having this Bible study? And for those who have shared, I mean, we never thought the Bible study has been amazing, but it's just been such a gift even for our community as men, random men, overhear us sharing the scripture, overhearing our challenges and struggle in marriage, relationships, parenting, business, applying these biblical principles. I mean, men come out of the woodwork just stopping us in the middle of Bible study, and we get to pray for them. We get to do life with them. They start joining Bible study and things like that. And so how has this even overpoured into other areas of your life where you didn't realize it would overpour this way? Maybe in your business or parenting. What did it look like for you?
I just realized that we're all going through a lot of the same things, feelings, emotions, struggles, work, marriage, kids, whatever it is, and that there's a huge calling for this. I realized that even in the work world is now this just like I have this is like overflowing with me just to want to speak about my Bible study, the word, me creating the Bible study. And I speak with all these men now at work and all over the place, the gym, work. And I just see their eyes opening and almost craving such a thing. I see them want they were like, oh wow, that exists. But they're almost they're wanting it, but they don't know where to get it from. And so it for me is just it's been great to see that like you said, with the other people showing up, there's so many people need this, and that's why I said anybody can create this. It's just it just needs to be done. It's just we need to make these steps and not just every every man I speak to, they're doing the same thing. No fun, work, faith is horrible. Everything's just work related, and I see you start to see men smile that they want these things, but they just don't know how to go about getting started with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right because not having a community, not having brothers to lead someone through this. And this is not none of this was mine. This is all you. This is all your idea. I just clarify a couple questions, get you clear
Yep.
on what you want out of it. That's it. And then just hold you high to your word. And a lot of men will share things about what they want, but they don't really take action steps with it because they don't have like what you're saying they don't have a brotherhood to support them to get them there. A lot of times they'll just get stuck in their circumstances, work and things like that because it's within their control. I mean, we can control our income like pretty well, work harder, start a business, work smarter, whatever it is. And so a lot of it's in our control. And there is at some seasons that is great. We need to do that and we never stop doing that. But unless we have a purpose big enough to go out and make disciples, to go and share the good word and make that as our daily living, like we say, there's not a lot of joy and laughter. I'm hearing you're having more fun than you've ever had pretty much in the
Oh
last
yeah.
decades, like just because you're living out the word and not just learning about it, head knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has nothing. I mean, and it has nothing to do with income. It was always my fun level was always dependent on what income I had at that time. If did I have a bunch of money at this time? Ooh, I can splurge on this. I can take this really good vacation. My joy was always based on how much funds I have coming in that month, year, whatever it is. Now, take away that, it's almost like, yeah, obviously that's great. That helps. But now I get to create all these other things with my fitness journey, with faith. And if I make a bunch of money, that's just extra. That's great. God bless me with that. But I don't need that to have the fun and the fulfillment and just a joy in my heart. That we're not promised anything. And like you said, we're not promised anything but death. So everything else is just a bonus. We're so blessed to have all these great things we have, but we're just so blinded with gotta work, gotta make more money. And that's the only way we're going to be able to live life, is to retire, and then maybe we'll enjoy life.
Yeah. Eventually, one day we'll enjoy life versus like what you're saying. Why are we not enjoying life right now? But what does it take to enjoy life? Is not making more money, although that helps, but it's very temporary. It's such a short term like satisfaction. There's only so much I
Mm,
can eat. There's only so much I can drink. There's only so much I can travel. Where you're what you I'm hearing you say is you're experiencing real life, and that life comes from the fact that you're giving life to others. You're sharing life with others.
yeah, 1000%, 1000%.
Yeah. So
Before
if you
I just soaked it up. I just soaked it up and
yeah.
kept it to myself.
And kept it to yourself. So if you were talking to a man right now, and men, they're coming from all, I mean, you did not have a perfect marriage, you did not have perfect business, perfect kids. None of this is perfect. We're not here to be perfect. This is not the point. We come as we are. If you were speaking to a man on the other side of this, this podcast video right now, and you're like, maybe they feel a little stuck. Maybe they feel like, man, it's just another grind. It's just another day. Oh man, my wife is just, she's just being so difficult and so hard. And they might feel like something's just missing in their life. They can't put their finger on it though. You know what I mean? They just can't put their finger on it. What would you say to this man on the other side?
That right there is that's the $1,000,000 question that I even struggled thinking about that. And what I think is that what I would say, obviously with besides maybe inviting them to come to my Bible study so they could see what that's like, to see what brotherhood's like, is because that is a tough question. What do you to say to somebody that, what about if they don't have any of that type of brotherhood already? Do I would suggest creating that brotherhood, or creating friends that you can get feedback, friends that can hold you high, friends that can keep you accountable, friends that can see you for who you are. But it's like, how do you that Eve, that's a question I even struggle with. Like, what do you say to somebody like that? I even have a tough time. Like, obviously I would invite them to where I'm at, to let them, and that's been what's working. I invite them to, for now, it's just the Bible study that I have, or Saturday Kingsmen that you have. And I invite them to that because I want them to see what that's like. I want them to see what it's like to have some simple questions, or with the Bible study, just learn about the word, what's right in the word, and and just to get some feedback. How are you living by the word? How are you applying these things? And I think that's what I would do. I would invite, but because without them to try to suggest for them to just create on their own when they don't have this new to them, that's a tough deal. Like and I've read that, and I struggle with knowing what's a good answer for that
Yeah.
myself. Yeah,
It is hard. What I'm hearing you say is they need to be in community, and not just
yeah,
any community, not just beating around the bushes, talking about sports, not saying,
yeah.
a community like, oh, everything looks good. And, or, how's your week? "Oh, it's good. It's good. Family's good. And that's it. No, they need,
Complaining about the wife.
or
That's
complaining about the
typical. Here,
wife,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And they need to be in a community, a faith-based brotherhood where they're not just getting general feedback and people are just treating them like fragile little things. They need to get around men who are willing to say the hard things, not without love, but in love for them. Like in our groups and Kingsmen, both at your table on Saturday through the Kingsmen here as well. And that's what our community is about as well. We choose not to hold people small, not because it's not just because like, we don't wanna hurt their feelings or anything. No, we know what's on the line, and that's the reality.
yep.
We know what's on the line. We know the marriage is on the line. We know the kids, the parents, the kids that are on the line, the businesses that are on the line, the team that are on the line, the souls that are on the line. And so, no, it's not about being greater and better. No, it's about winning together as men. And if we choose to, follow a great commission and disciple, go out and disciple others, baptize them in the Father, King, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I mean, this game is not meant to be done alone. It's meant to done with brothers. It's meant to be done in community where you get
Hmm.
supported as well. And so what I'm hearing from you is get into a brotherhood, a real one,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
a gentle, like, it's all okay. A brotherhood that challenges you, that sees the best in you, that c- holds your word accountable for you. And like in our group and things like that, you'll know I mean, we get guys who choose not to show up anymore, and that's very
Yep.
okay. It's not because we are too harsh or anything like that. It's no, we're not willing to let you treat yourself small because we know what's at stake for you and we know what most men are capable of, and God has big plans. It's just so scary as a man to go in this battle alone. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, being that brotherhood is what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, 1000%. And that, that's what, without inviting them, that's what I would suggest, just like you said, finding good community, good brotherhood, Amy asking questions. Are you hanging out with people now that are telling you everything's great that you're doing? Or, are they kind of, are they vulnerable enough to call you out on some of your stuff? Do you hang out with people that you're vulnerable enough to call them on their stuff? And most men are probably going to say they're not doing that, and so it's just, and it's not by that maybe they don't even want to. They just aren't aware of it. A lot of men are not aware of that. They go to work, like they said, they're living the worldly ways. They provide, they take care of their kids, their wives, and that's it. That's all they know. That's the way they were raised. That's all they know. And so I feel shared. That's why God made me this way. He already made me this way to meet so many people and friends. So I feel called to share this great new things that I'm learning with all these people in my environment, work, gym, and because there is a big calling for it. Whether they create it, they come with us. It's just it's needed. It's needed, and like you said, there's so much on the line. It's
Yeah.
just yeah, it just work. There's a lot more on the line, and even your eternity, right? There's so much more on the line besides just in this world, right? Go past that. It's just we could die any minute. And for me, I want to save these men. That's what happened with me with the Bible study and in my faith. I want to save these men. I realized the urgency, and I never looked at the urgency of life and death until recently. Like maybe getting a little older help with that.
Yeah. When you know your days are a little bit numbered, and it goes
Yeah,
fast. You're like, whoa, just yesterday I was like 20 or 30. Now I'm 50. And
crazy.
my son, my son's 18. We have a couple of younger guys, 18, about to get married. Some are going through divorce. Some already have been divorced. I mean, just such a range of men who come to learn from each other. It's not just youth
Mhm.
stays with only youth. No, it's this whole range, the whole spectrum of this human experience as being a man, husband, father that all of these generations are getting. And do other people have the space where these men are speaking very vulnerably? Like you're very vulnerable, I'm very vulnerable that we are not perfect and we will refuse to be perfect. You know,
Yep.
I mean, that's what we need. So find a community that can do that. And on that note, too, Jamie has your your Bible study. Just share a little bit about when you have that, just for if any man is in that around that, that area, they can always go to your Bible study, get your contact information and things like that as well. If not, I also have another invitation.
Yeah, for sure. You want me to share it now?
Yeah, yeah, just share it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We do it every Tuesday night, and so far it's been every Tuesday night for the last since I created it, from 7 to 8:30 ish. We like to we say we stop at 8, but sometimes it goes a little longer because it's going so good. And yeah, it's in Mansfield where we live. It's over at a coffee and pastry place called Paris Baguette. We invite anybody. Everybody's welcome, and we'd love to have anybody, men specifically.
Yeah, it's specifically for men, just because we can't lead women right now.
Yeah, yeah. We're just working on ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also we're gonna put the link at the bottom as well for a school community with a 5-day challenge coming up as well. We'll put that in the link as well for men to get a taste if they're not in the Mansfield area and things like that as well, in order to get this taste of brotherhood and what that looks like, it's completely free. Everything we'll add it to link below. But there's that. On that note, too, just kind of last words for you, Jamie, for the man that could be listening right now who's, life is good. They are comfortable, they are making a living, they're a parent, their husband. What's a last couple of words that you'd like to share to this person on the other side before we sign off here?
And their life is good.
Their
That's
life
a
is
that's
good.
a that's a good question. Are you doing it alone? That would be the $1,000,000 question. Are you doing it alone? And is your
It's
life
concerning.
good? Is your life good just from the outside looking in, or do you actually feel like your life is good in your body and in your soul? Is this are you doing it alone, or are you doing it by yourself? And if you're doing it alone, in my opinion, it can be so much better doing it in community.
Yeah, it is so, and you're right. At least in my own experience too, is we can do a lot of things alone and be pretty good. And it's just it'll pass. But there's this hole in our heart, as I think I'm hearing what you say, this missing
Mm,
where, man, when we do it with community, when we do it with other men and we're discipling others, learning through that process and giving it away is just another level of fun, another level of life that, you just it's I mean, once you're there, you don't wanna go back. You know what I mean?
no,
I feel
no,
for me, will never go back, you know? But unless
yep,
you take that risk and say, "Hey, what could it look like for me to, uh to do this in community, to grow my faith in community, to disciple in community, and be discipled?" Because Jamie, unless you were discipled, it's very difficult to disciple others. It's like you got to learn it from someone, to get it from someone, and to give it to someone. That way, you learn it 10 times better. That the principles and things get reinforced, and you just get a more of an overflow. So you need to get discipled to disciple another. It's just the way that God designed it, because He designed it in relationship.
yep, yep. I felt like all those years I was getting discipled, right? Receiving, but I did not know how to disciple others. I just learned what a good disciple follower was like, but I didn't know how to lead.
Yeah, to lead as a disciple is very different, right? It's like
Yep.
you only get half of the story almost.
Mhm.
And I think I love that you said that too, because the church does a great job at sharing and giving. And, people come hungry and they're giving, giving, giving. It's just at some point too, you also have to learn how to receive specifically to give. The focus is to give.
Mm,
And once your intention and your goal is to be able to give, I mean, everything else you're receiving, it just gets multiplied as well.
mhm. Yes.
It's difficult to sometimes the church doesn't have that infrastructure, time, the leadership isn't. It might not be that maybe the biggest focus, or it is. It's just they're so stretched that creating disciples is sometimes kind of put on the back burner a little bit with some churches too, because it's just like a revolving door. It's about, memberships and things like that. It's not to the fault of their own. It's just the infrastructure created. But the guys that go to even your Bible said, none of them go to our church. They're just,
Mhm,
I mean, everyone's walks of life. Some even haven't found a church yet.
mhm.
The church is those who step up and want to do the will of the Father, to disciple others and to be discipled. And so it doesn't have to be fixated in a specific church or anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they might even feel, they might have been more nervous coming to the Bible study at first, but they might even feel more comfortable at the Bible study now than going to a church. And that blows my mind that we've always heard we're the church everywhere, and it's anybody can create the church. That's
And
what
it
I've
doesn't
learned.
look a certain way. We cuss at
Yeah.
our Bible study. We get mad at our Bible study. I mean, nothing is off limits because we want to hear people's hearts first. And once we hear their heart, then the scripture can be applied towards that. But it's not just,
Yes.
we're not here to look perfect, like we say, and just teach, oh, this is what the scripture says. No, the Holy Spirit will work on them. They just need to show up and be vulnerable about where they're at. And we just create that space for them just to be where they're at.
Yep. Yep.
All right, brother. Because most of us at least, we know we messed up already. So
Oh yeah.
there's nothing, there's nothing you can pull or show that we're going to judge you for, because we've already messed up. And we know we received grace. And so does everyone else gets that as well.
And it's so much easier that way. So much easier.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, thank you so much, brother, for jumping on and just being vulnerable and sharing where your journey is with us today. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.